students, my name is Mrs. Fritz and I'm going to be teaching you today how to hold your base. Now the first tricky thing about a base is how to get it out of the case. It's very important that you never lay your base on its back, that you always put it on its side because that's where the strongest part of the base is. The back of it is actually the weakest part of the base and it can make it crack really easy. So you lay it on its side with the zipper on top if you have a zipper case. And then you unzip as much as you can. Both sides, they have a zipper down here too. And then you just peel off as much of the bag as you can. Sometimes with some bases this part is trickier. And then you grab it by the neck and you lift it up and you take it off like you're taking off a shirt. I'm going to set that over there so it's not in the way. So here's my base. It's taller than me. Your base is going to be taller than you too, but it's not that heavy. Now, the first thing we do after we get our base out is we actually set it back down because we have to adjust our end pin. Now your end pin is down here, and the first thing you do is you loosen this screw, and we always remember lefty-loosey, righty-tighty, and we pull out our end pin. Now, at first you're not going to know how high to make your end pin, and you're going to need your teacher to help you figure that out. But a good rule is when you're holding your base, the nut of your instrument, which you should have learned by now, here's the nut right here, should be about the same as your forehead. And that's when you're holding it the right way. So not straight up and down, that's not the right way to hold your base, and not tilted like a cello either. Then you see my nut's not in the right place. When you're holding it the right way, the nut should be about at your forehead, okay? So that's a way to measure that, okay? The next thing you need to think about is how your feet are. And I forgot to put on my shoes before I made this video, but that's okay. You need to have a very strong stance. So if you're standing like this, or if you're standing like this, I could come over and push you over. You want to be standing so that if I came over and pushed your shoulder, you would hardly even wobble. Your job in your body when you are a bass player is to hold up that bass with your body. So you have to make strong. Now, every teacher is different. Some teachers will like you to put your left leg out a little bit so that you can stabilize the bass. Some teachers might have you sit on a stool. But this is a basic way to hold your bass. And what you're going to want to do is put your bass standing up next to you with your arm out like this. And then you just kind of lean your bass into your body. Okay, and you're going to want to put it right in this area so your leg kind of goes behind this bend. Okay, now here's a lot of mistakes that students make. They will put their bass flat on their body like this. That is very unstable. You can see the bass wobbles and tilts and it feels like it's going to fall like all the time. Another thing students do sometimes wrong is they'll put the bass completely sideways. Now this feels very stable. It feels like it's not going to fall, and that's great. But you can't do things later when you learn to use your bow. You'll start running into your leg, and it causes a lot of problems if you try to learn to hold your bass this way. So we have to be somewhere in between. You want to have the bass tilted, but not too much, and you want to have it leaning into your body, but not leaning too much. So a strong stance. Now, one of the best ways to see if you're doing this right is by looking in a mirror. And you can see I have a big, huge mirror right here. If you don't have a good mirror easy in your house, one place most people have a mirror is in their bathroom. You could take your bass in your bathroom, be careful not to bump it. Or maybe you can ask your parents if they could help you find a nice long mirror so you can look at how you're holding your bass from a different perspective. Okay, so we want to have the bass, this back rib of our bass, that's what we call it, leaning into our body. Okay, now, right now, at the beginning, you're just going to be plucking your bass. But there's an important thing. This hand's job is not to hold up the whole bass. This hand's job is just to balance your bass. So you basically want your bass to be able to stand up with you just barely touching it with like 1 or 2 fingers of your left hand. Okay, you can see how I can almost let go. It starts to tilt a little bit, but then then I can catch it. So you just want to have your left hand barely balancing your bass. The rest of the bass weight should be leaning into your body. Now, this looks a little bit different for every person. All of our bodies are different. All of our basses we get to play are actually different. So you might need to have your teacher help you figure out the most comfortable, best way for you to hold your bass. It might be different from my best way, but the things I talked about are still important. You don't want to have your bass flat, and you don't want to have it too tilted. Okay, the last one I see students doing a lot of the time, and it can be a really bad habit, is I tell them, don't lean on your bass, let your bass lean on you. Okay, so it's really easy since the bass is so big to kind of droop your body over it when you're standing up in class. Okay, you got to develop strong muscles so that your bass leans on you and you don't lean on your bass. This is a big no-no. First of all, it can make your end pin not work right, and it also just makes you not build up the muscles you need to become a good bass player. You will build up those muscles if you practice how to hold your bass correctly. So, thank you so much. Oh, the last thing, it's very important for you to know how to put your bass away. Putting basses away is hard. It takes some practice, but you know what? You will get fast at it, just like the cellos and violins, if you practice. So, first thing, oh yeah, we didn't forget. You've got to put it in your end pin. So you got to think to yourself, okay, lefty-loosey, loosen that, scoot it in. Now, it's really important that you tighten the screw again, because if you don't, your end pin might fly out. Okay, now it's a little different when we put our bass away than when we got it out, because we're going to grab the bag, and then we're going to stand up the bass, always holding by the neck so we have a nice firm stance, right? And then just like you're getting dressed, you're going to put the bag, doesn't really matter if it's the right way, put the bag over the head, right? Okay, so like you put your shirt over your head. And then you're going to wrap the bag around, and you're going to check, how do I know which way does it go? Well, there's usually something to protect this part, the bridge. And usually if there's a pocket, it goes on the back. You can see right here, there's a pocket in your case. That goes on the back of your case, okay, of your instrument. So then you could do this two ways. You could zip it down from here, just like that, or you could lay it down like we started and zip it up. Okay, now every case is a little bit different, so you're going to have to experiment with yours. If you have any questions, make sure you ask your teacher. And don't forget, look in the mirror and let your bass lean on you. Don't lean on your bass. I hope you have a really great day learning to play your instrument.